Imagine the scene departing from any mother's heart, a 3-year-old child sitting on her own in a corner, chewing a hard, dry bread, while another girl of the same age is served with delicacies like a little princess. That's exactly what Anya saw when she arrived at her mother-in-law's house, and what she witnessed next was even more shocking. Anya has always been a patient woman, those who swallow tears not to create conflicts. Even with a tight heart, she tried to stay calm as she left her daughter Marenka with her mother-in-law for a few hours. "It's just 3 hours, Grandma. I left cookies, juice and an apple in her backpack," he explained, while Ludmila Vladimirovna cheered her nose. How to take care of her granddaughter herself was a burden. "In my time, a mother who was a mother, she wasn't curling up with a child," he grunted, as if the affection was unnecessary luxury. But what Anya didn't know was that while she was fighting the clock at an endless meeting, her daughter was being set aside. When he finally managed to break free and arrived at his mother-in-law's house, after 40 minutes lost in chaotic traffic, what he found was a scene he would never forget. In the kitchen, the sister-in-law's daughter, Oksana, a spoiled 10-year-old girl to the marrow, devoured spoonfuls of red caviar straight from the can, while Marenka, in the corner, had followed a piece of black bread, hard as stone. There were no tears in the girl's eyes, just a deep sadness, as if she had already learned that in that place there was no room for her. "What is happening here?" Anya asked, with a trembling voice of anger contained. The mother-in-law, without any embarrassment, responded with a disdain that hurt more than a slap. "Oh, you've come back? Oksana was hungry, poor thing. Your daughter ate what you left, hey?" But the backpack was empty. The juice, the cookies, the other apple, everything was gone. And the worst, Oksana herself laughed without any shame, while licking the dirty fingers of caviar. "The cookie was good, and the juice too," he said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. It was then that Ludmila, with a smile of superiority, extended a roll to Anya. "Here. The account. 567 rubles. Water, light, the wear of the couch, the use of the bathroom. I told everything right, until the water your daughter drank." As if a child were an unwanted guest, charged by each breath. Anya didn't argue. It didn't shouted. It didn't take the pleasure of seeing your fury. He just took his daughter on her lap, looked into her mother-in-law's eyes and said, with a calm that would freeze, "My daughter will never step here. And send the bill to Maxim." It was only when sitting in the car, with Marenka beside her, that she allowed the tears to fall. How could you trust that place? How did you not see the poison that dripped behind those false smiles? When Maxim came home and heard the report, his face hardened. "I will talk to her," he murmured, as if a conversation could fix years of indifference. But Anya was no longer willing to negotiate. "No. This time, no. My daughter doesn't come back for 5 minutes." And something in her gaze made her husband understand, there was no return. A week later, Ludmila called, complaining about account not paid. Maxim, with a firm voice, cut off any chance of discussion. "I won't pay a penny for this nonsense. And Ma no longer sets my feet in his house." The mother-in-law tried to make a victim, as always, "After everything I did for you." But Maxim's question was like a knife. "And what did you do for your granddaughter?" Left her in the corner, eating crumbs, while another child feasted at ease. 2 months passed. Ludmila stopped calling after some pathetic attempts of justification. Until, one night, the phone rang again. This time, his voice trembled. "Maxim, cut my light. I forgot to pay the bill." Anya, who heard everything, exchanged a look with her husband. "How much should you?" he asked. "Already know." "Give the answer." "Almost 5,000 rubles. I saved the money, but I ended up buying a new tablet for Oksana on her birthday." Maxim covered the phone and looked at Anya, who just shook his head. "I'll transfer, but it's the last time." The next day, however, while her husband worked and Mao played in the daycare center, Anya made a decision. He went to the energy company, took the mother-in-law's account and asked for a history of payments for the last 12 months. Half an hour later, he left with a smile on his face and a paper in his hand. At night, as they had dinner, she put a paste on the table. "You know, I was thinking about your mother's ridiculous account. I thought I should do one too." Maxim looked at her confused. "What are you talking about?" Anya opened the folder and showed the calculations. 5 years of babysitter unpaid. 5 years of lunches, dinners, and favors she never returned. 5 years of disrespect to my daughter and me. His eyes shone, not of hatred, but of a determination that left no replicas. The difference is that my account is not 567 rubles. It's a lot, much bigger. And I won't charge. I just want her to understand one thing. Family doesn't measure in cash. If she wondered, she's been bankrupt for a long time. And you? Anya opened the folder with a deliberate gesture, revealing a printed sheet with surgical accuracy. At the top, in impeccable letters, calculation of the debt of Ludmila Vladimirovna Korshunova. The items followed as blows from a bugle hammer: payment of the Ludmila Vladimirovna electric bill for forgotten, 4,930 rubles. Moral damage, 10,000 rubles. Cost of lunch stolen, cookies, juice, apple, 350 rubles. 3,000 rubles. Total, 19,780 rubles. Maxim arched, his fingers shaking by touching the paper. What is that? That, Anya smiled, but it was a smile that didn't come to the eyes, sharp like the blade of a kitchen knife. It's my version of the calculations. And today, my love, I was in person at the Center for Energy. A heavy silence fell between them. Maxim knew that tone, the same as she used when someone dare hurt her daughter. Did you know something? Anya continued, the voice low, but each syllable a verdict. Your mother didn't forget to pay the bill. She has never paid light in the last 7 months. This while receiving a pension of 32,000 rubles plus the 15,000 you, like a devoted son, deposits every month in her account. Maxim's lips tightened on a thin line. And what do you propose? Anya closed the folder with a dry crack. Nothing. I already decided. I paid the debt today. Her light comes back tomorrow. Why not tell her? Maxim's question was more a gone than a question. What? Anya shrugged, but her eyes shone with a calculated cold. May you spend a night in the dark. That feels the weight of what you didn't do. And when the light comes back magic tomorrow, which decides, it was a miracle, or it was you, if one day decides to tell. She leaned forward, her white fingers so tight. But listen well, Maxim, it ends here. I will no longer tolerate that our daughter is treated as a hindrance. Neither you nor her, nor anyone. He stared at her for a long moment, as if he first saw the woman who had married, not just a protective mother, but a relentless strategic. Then, softly, as if it feared to break the charm, I love you. And you are right. The next day, the phone rang. The voice of Ludmila Vladimirovna trembled, broken. Maxim. They called me the light back. Was it you? Son, I don't know how to thank. Maxim looked at Anya, who denied his head, an almost imperceptible gesture. Yes, Mom. I paid. A sigh relieved from the other end of the line. My angel. But there is a condition. Maxim's voice hardened. The silence that followed was so dense that it was possible to hear the breathtaking breath of the woman. What condition? The temperature of the question plummeted. You will apologize. For Anya. To Moshe. He gave no room for interruptions. Or I never put a ruble in your account again. Choice. The break was long. Too long. Did she make you say that? The accusation was a reflection, instinctive. No. Maxim's answer was a whip. It's me, Mom. Your son. And this is my last word. A week later, Ludmila Vladimirovna appeared at the door. Without the skin coat that always wore to impress, without the expensive perfume that masked the smell of mold from its loneliness. Just her, a cake box in her hands and a package with a doll for Moshe. Bet in, Ludmila Vladimirovna, Anya said, although her entire body contracted inside. The woman hesitated in the hallway, as if the floor could open under her feet. I brought a cake, and this. She extended the package, her trembling fingers. To Moshe. The girl spied from the room, her eyes wide, her body glued to the wall as if she could become invisible. Moshe, Ludmila called her voice a thread. Forgive the grandma. I was wrong. The child looked at his mother, seeking permission. Anya nodded, and Moshe approached, step by step, as she approaches a wounded animal. Do you promise not to be in the corner anymore? He asked seriously. Ludmila Vladimirovna swallowed hard. I promise. Because the grandma was so bad. The child's frankness was like a stab. The woman's eyes filled with tears. I know my love. And I ask for forgiveness. The dinner was a minefield of silences and stealthy glances, but when Ludmila got up to leave, she did something unexpected. He turned to Anya and said softly, You know, I spent my whole life telling coins. My parents taught me that each copy saved was a victory. When her father died, she swallowed the knot in her throat. It became even harder. I thought that if I didn't save on everything, it would sink. Except with Maxim, of course. He was my excuse not to see the rest. Anya crossed her arms, but did not interrupt. I saw that calculation, Ludmila continued, a bitter smile on her lips. Maxim showed me. You were right. She shook her head, as if she still didn't believe what she was going to say. But you know, I already knew you had paid the light. How? Anya couldn't hide the surprise. Because Maxim never knew how to lie. A shrug, almost suit. And because. She took a deep breath. Because you could have closed me the door forever. But it didn't. 5 years later, Ludmila Vladimirovna's house was where Moshe and her little brother Kirill spent weekends. Where Oksana, her 15-year-old niece before a spoiled child, now a teenager with her feet on the ground, learned to bake the famous cinnamon cookie. Mommy. Moshe ran to Anya as soon as she entered the kitchen, her eyes shining. Grandma is teaching us how to make the family cookie. Ludmila, with a flowered apron Anya never saw her wearing, smiled embarrassed. It's a wreath that goes from generation to generation, he said, emphasizing the last word as he looked at Anya. For the whole family. Oksana slid on the bench, making space. Aunt Anya, feel. Grandma says the secret is to sound the pasta with love. Anya found Ludmila's eyes. There was no challenge there, no calculation, nor the shadow of the woman who had once tried to reduce her daughter-in-law to numbers. There was only gratitude. Such a deep gratitude that it dismissed words. With pleasure, Anya sat down, taking a piece of pasta. You know, Moshe, one day you'll teach this wreath to your children. And it will be the hottest cookie in the world. Why will you have love? Asked the girl, seriously. Exactly, Anya answered, exchanging a look with Ludmila. Because everything gets better when done with love. When the cookies came out of the oven, they all sat in the salt. To have tea. Ludmila opened an old photo album, showing the children yellow portraits, telling stories that made Moshe laugh and Kirill yawn. At one point, she leaned over to Anya and muttered, You know, I did the math these days. You have saved me a fortune over the years. What are you talking about? Anya frowned. From the accounts I could have introduced you, Ludmila replied with a rascal smile. For each favor, every hour, every lost rublo. But instead, she gestured, encompassing the room, the kids laughing, the smell of cinnamon in the air, the warmth of a home that she had almost destroyed herself. I learned that the true value is not in the numbers. Anya just nodded. But inside her, something settled. All those nights of insomnia, all the tears swallowed, were worth it. Because sometimes people need time. Even the hardest. And the box with that 567 ruble receipt. It was still stored in the closet. Not as a scar, but as a map. The way of a silent war to peace that, against all the odds, they had conquered.